I find it really interesting in your book as well how you draw the correlations between big food and the tobacco industry. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I mean, until quite recently in human history, doctors were recommending types of tobacco. We have had a lot of medical providers over the years who have been paid off to say that certain cigarettes are healthy. I forgot which brand it is, but anyone can look this up. They had an ad saying that their cigarettes were the best for pregnant women. And this is something that was approved, and there was like doctors that signed off for it. And so, unfortunately, one of the scariest things about our healthcare system, big pharma, and big food is that they're all kind of in bed with each other. And so, we see a lot of medical providers that are signing off on things that are totally not at all healthy for us. And that was the case for big tobacco for a really long time. And unfortunately, that's the case for a lot of things in the pharmaceutical industry and the case for a lot of what's happening in big food. I mean, one small recent example is a lot of registered dietitians who are trained and they get their education from the conventional medical system. A lot of these registered dietitians were paid off by these big food soda companies to say that aspartame is totally fine. There's nothing unhealthy about it. Now, this is not to say that if you drink one Diet Coke, you're going to die. Everything in a little bit of healthy moderation. But what these RDs were saying online is that a lot of the research showing that high levels of aspartame is really not good for your gut, especially. They're saying that all of this is bogus and it's been debunked, and there's nothing wrong at all with drinking all of the diet soda that you want in the world. And besides, it's also 0 calories. And then you also had some registered dietitians that were paid off by big food companies to promote ice cream and say that there's absolutely nothing wrong with eating ice cream every single night if you want. Again, there's something wrong with enjoying ice cream. We're not trying to promote a completely unhealthy approach to food, especially if you look at a lot of countries like the blue zones and a lot of European countries where people are healthier, much lower rates of chronic disease and obesity. Like, they enjoy full fat foods, they enjoy some sugar, but they enjoy it in such moderation, and they eat a much healthier diet day to day that they don't see the same types of health problems as we do. So we're not saying that you should never eat ice cream, but the problem is that a lot of these registered dietitians are paid off by big food to tell little lies about the types of junk food or prepackaged or ultra processed foods that people are literally addicted to now. And it's just a lot of similarities. Doctors were paid off. They were paid a handsome sum to recommend cigarettes to pregnant women and say that these are the best cigarettes for you and your baby. And we're unfortunately still seeing a lot of that today. And it's something that needs to be called out, and it's something that people need to be aware of, because unfortunately we have a sort of God complex when it comes to people with a certain medical degree, especially MDs. I mean, we saw that a lot during COVID a few years ago. Doctors and even nurses and people who have been educated by the conventional medical system, they've been given this God complex. But unfortunately, they're human just like the rest of us. So they can be paid off to say certain things. And so we're still seeing that happen today.